Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. This is LZ, and I am here as always with Nick. And today we have a special guest. We have Kayla Norsworthy from Kayla Collects. Kayla's got a long list of credentials, and I'm going to cover some of them. She is the official ambassador for the National. She is a card show traveler. She's going all over the place to all the best card shows. She's got a lot of content around that. She is an avid collector, first and foremost. And she's also a writer for Hobby News Daily and Slab Stocks. And we're having her on the show today because we want Kayla to school me and Nick, especially about the National. She's an official ambassador, so we want to get schooled today, including just getting to know her and all the great things she's doing. But Kayla, welcome to the show.
Thank you for
Welcome.
having me. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
we're
need your
very
help.
excited.
We need your help pretty badly. So this will be great.
Yeah, I have my notebook in front of me. I'm ready to just.
All right.
I'm going to run out of ink here.
So before we harass you about the National for like, I don't know, 30 minutes, we're all collectors here. And I was just curious. It seems like you do a lot of baseball. And I was just interested, what do you collect personally? And what's the like your most favorite card that you own?
Yeah, so I mostly collect baseball, like probably honestly 90% of my collection is baseball. That's just what I grew up watching, and the players I collect I have connections to. So that's why I kind of collect my two PC players. So I was thinking about this. It's honestly probably between like three cards. I couldn't narrow it down quite to
Mm.
one. So one of them is a top Stadium Club card of Austin Hayes that I had him sign and inscribe. I had him sign it with Skittle power, because him and I have a story that goes back to like him hitting home runs with me giving him Skittles. I talk about that a lot in my Tops Ripped article, that was just published a couple months ago. So
All
the
right, we
full
need to hear
story there.
this. We need to hear this story. What is this Skittle story all about?
So it honestly, so the story with me and Austin Hayes goes back to like 2017. So he started the Frederick Keys, which was the high A affiliate for the Orioles then. And that, like the opening day of that game, I was there. I was new to the area, and the way that stadium's set up is their dugout doesn't lead to their clubhouse. Their clubhouse is on like the top of the concourse, so they have to like walk up these set of stairs, like through the fans basically to get to their clubhouse. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I was getting high fives. And after the game, he gave me his broken bat, which I didn't know was a thing in the minors. That actually happens like quite a bit in the minors because obviously they don't have anywhere for them to go.
Mhm.
And so he gave me his broken bat. I stayed in contact with him, got him to sign it. Later that year, he gets called up to Double A, skips Triple A, makes it to the majors, is the first player drafted in 2016 to get to the major leagues, which is crazy. So then the following year, he starts off in Double A. I go and I was like, "Hey, you're the one I gave you gave your broken bat to." He signed his cards that he had out at the moment for me. And later that year, I interviewed him for my journalism class, and stayed in contact with him there. So the Skittles story comes into play, I think the following year. He is rehabbing in Frederick again, which is the place I met him. And I was like, he's done a lot for me. He's signed cards. Like, I don't need anything else from him. I want to give him something. So I brought Skittles and Sour Patch, and he got to decide what he wanted. He chose the Skittles. That game, he hits a home run. I'm like,
Mm.
one time it was kind of a coincidence. But I was like, it's definitely the Skittles, right? So then he's rehabbing in Norfolk, which is their AAA. I give him Skittles. He hits a home run two times in a row, right? This goes on 5 or 6 consecutive games over the span of like 3 years where I go randomly and gave him Skittles and he hits a home run. And so the reason the Stadium Club card is so cool is that was like a Skittle game. So I gave him Skittles before that game that's pictured on that card. And the picture on it is him celebrating after robbing Vlad Jr. of a home run in that game. His next at bat, he hits a home run. Um, so it's
Amazing.
inscribed Skittle power. Just
Wow.
like
That is
a
the coolest story
It's-
behind not only a card, but like now I feel like I need to go eat some Skittles or something after hearing
yeah,
that.
there's definitely some like brand marketing opportunities here too. Whether it's Austin Hayes and or you, like we need
Yeah.
we need Skittles. Come on, reach out. What are we
Yeah,
doing here?
and it was crazy. The Orioles captured him coming in the dugout one time after hitting one of those home runs, and a teammate of his was dumping them in his mouth, and he's like, every time So that was like on their social media, and Cedric Mullins talked about it on MLB Network. So the story's out there.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's incredible. That is so cool. Wow.
So
All right.
that's
So that
one of
that
my
was
favorite
number,
parts.
yeah, one of the favorites. The other two, what are the other two?
So the other two is my first card ever that I got out of
Mhm.
a pack. Because I got into this in 2013 by opening two Top Series 1 baseball packs. In one of those packs, I pulled a Manny Machado rookie card, which was my favorite non-Rays player at the time. I still have that card to this day. So it started everything for me. So it's up there with that card, like, and then
Hmm.
the other card is a Connor McDavid patch auto I got at the 2021 National, which was my first National. And I'd saved up like all my money from like doing random things throughout the year, selling cards, and I bought this Connor McDavid patch auto straight up. And it's just like a cool memory for me because my first National, and I won a contest to get there, and um, like honestly my whole like content creation career kind of started, it's like pre 2021 national and post
Mhm.
2021 national, like there's two very separate things for me there. So those are why, like, those are my top three.
Okay. Well, that's great. We appreciate that history. So 2021 was the first year of the National. So my math, I'm terrible at math, but I think that's 3 years. You've gone to three of them, right?
Yes, I've
Three,
gone to
four,
three. Yeah.
three. All right. So you're a veteran in our eyes. I mean, you're an ambassador, so you got that title. So now it's time to school me and Nick
Okay.
on the National. Um, I guess just leading up to it, you've been to a couple of them. Like, what is like the number one thing you're most excited about?
um I think it's kind of a two-part answer.
Hmm.
One is definitely the people, like meeting people that you've talked to on social media for so long, or seeing people that you only see like once or twice a year. Otherwise, that's like my favorite part. The cards there are like awesome. There's pieces of memorabilia you'll never see again in your life, but getting to build those connections that you've built online is like my favorite part. And the kind of second part of that answer is the woman in the hobby booth. We've had a woman in the hobby booth the past two following years, and it's gotten bigger each time. And that's like a conglomerate of like a couple of us that do content or have been in the hobby for a long time, and we just kind of run that booth. We do giveaways. We partnered last year and had gave away some Angel Reese meet and greet opportunities, and yeah, so all those women there are like my favorite people in the hobby.
So is that a booth that's more of like an experience that people stop by, or do you like sell? Are you selling cards too and buying and trading at your booth?
Yeah, so the past 2 years it's been in the Breakers Pavilion, and you're not allowed to sell singles if you're in the
Okay.
Breakers Pavilion.
Hmm.
But we do have like giveaways. So the past 2 years we've partnered with Parkside, which does the NWSL cards, and they've made an exclusive set for our booth at the National, both of the past 2 years. So it's more so like just a experience kind of thing. Like we have giveaways. Usually we have signers at our booth at least once or twice. So yeah, it's more so.
Okay. So first to do, I'm writing in my notebook is we will be stopping by your booth at the
Right?
National. So
Of
that's
course.
number one to do. Okay. All right. All right.
You also gave us our first warning. So I'm a guy that typically screws things up and breaks the rules by accident. So LZ, no selling singles in the breaking room. Okay.
Okay. That's
That's true,
we
yeah.
we got our first rule that I had
okay.
no idea of until right
Yeah.
now. That's awesome. So Kayla, what are you going to be doing this year? Are you going to be doing the same thing at that booth? You're going to be doing different things. What are you going to be up to at the National? Buying, selling, like what's your plan?
Honestly, probably a mixture of everything. Last year was probably, I don't know, each year is just so different from the year past for me, like my roles and what I do. So I mean, honestly, I'll probably be at that Women in the Hobby booth a good amount of the time, creating content for them, creating content for the giveaways we're doing, maybe doing a break or two. We've done kids pack wars at the booth, which has been like my favorite thing. Last year I found out I share a birthday with Seiya Suzuki at that booth because of a kids pack war, so that was pretty fun. And then content, being a media ambassador for the National, just really showcasing what that show has to offer that no other show in the country does, and how it brings the community together like no other show. It's just a once in a lifetime experience, and I've been fortunate enough to experience it 3 times now. This will be my fourth. and just sharing how, like what that has to offer. There's just so many different things you can get yourself into. I'll be all over the place doing random stuff. And I'll also be creating content for Arena Club as well.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome. Tell us more about
And
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
what is that all about?
Yeah, so about a month ago, I was reached out to over social media from their head of marketing, and he was like, "Hey, I'd love to get on a meeting with you." And I thought honestly it was going to be a collaboration, like they've done with a lot of content creators in the space. And he reached out, and over the meeting, he was like, "Hey, I think you really embody what Arena Club's trying to do with reaching the collector and having a genuine voice in the hobby of like what we can bring and like just the more collector side and passionate side of Arena Club because Brian Lee, the founder, like Arena Club is his passion project. Like he's super successful. Like if you look him up, he's succeeded in so many other businesses that Arena Club is like his baby and it's his pride and joy because he loves it so much. So I have been on the Arena Club team for about a month as their social media, you can fill in whatever title you want there. So I just have been helping out with their slab pack releases, and starting to slowly trickle out some original content for them.
Well,
Excellent.
congratulations.
Yeah, great.
That's big.
Thank you.
Did
Yeah,
we just get an exclusive? Did we just get an exclusive announcement
maybe.
on
Yeah.
on the show? I think we did. If
That's
we
awesome.
didn't, we're just going to claim that we did anyways. So
Yeah. I can get
congratulations.
behind that.
All right,
Yeah,
Thank
well
excellent.
you.
We'll
done.
take it. We'll take it. Thanks, Kayla. Um, all right, back to the national. What about advice that you have for people who are attending their first national? Let's start with that, and then I have a follow-up to that question.
Yeah, advice for first time national people.
Hmm.
I would say one, make sure you get the sleep that you need. If that means leaving trade night early and going to bed and hitting the show early the next day, then do that. Or if you are a trade night person and you stay up late, maybe go to the show a little bit later. It can be a lot. You're going to be on your feet all day long and you can wear yourself out pretty quickly. Like, know it's okay to take a break. That would be my number one thing. Number two, stay hydrated. Again, you're gonna be on your feet all day. It's gonna be exhausting. It's gonna go by in the blink of an eye. And then also, I would say kind of two things is one, don't feel pressure to buy what everyone else is buying. You'll see people picking up really cool, like flashy basketball and football, because that will be on its rise, as it always is. But if that's not what you collect, if that's not what you transact, don't feel the need to do that because everyone else is doing it. There's something for everybody on that show floor, whether it's through giveaways, whether it's through a dealer's booth, whether it's through trades. There's something you can find for your collection there. And bring cash. Bring as much cash as you are comfortable bringing, because one, Wi-Fi hasn't always been the best. You may not be able to get on PayPal. You may not be able to get on Venmo. And not all dealers will take it. So those of you like my tricks of the trade that I've learned.
Some
Okay,
good
those are
advice
great.
there. Yeah.
There really are. Like we've been trying to ask this question of a lot of people lately, and you covered a few that we didn't. So it's sleep, it's good shoes, it's the necessities around food and water,
Food and water.
Yes.
and then don't get blinded by the glitz and glamour of the flashy cards that people are pulling. Stick to your plan. All
That's
right.
important
Yes.
advice too. Before you ask that second
Yeah.
question, LZ,
Hmm.
you can get is when you're at a show like this for 5 days, it's almost like you're in this captive bubble, right? It's like Lollapalooza or something like that. What
Yeah.
can happen in a captive bubble that has economics inside, like buying and selling and trading, is that you can get little mini bubbles, like word gets out on a 85 star card is like the thing this summer, and then you've got this cash in your hand. It's like free flowing, and it's good advice to just be like, all right, why am I here? What's my plan? Set limits and don't go with the flashy stuff. So I like that. It's helpful.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean, luckily I haven't done that yet. I've stayed within my like kind of list I've had for the past 3 years, and I hope to do that again. So yeah, I'd say it can be easy to kind of get caught up in the things though.
Okay. Great. So you're running a booth. You've ran one for a couple years now. Woman in the hobby booth. What advice do you have for me and Nick? Right, we're showing up. We're gonna do some content. We're gonna try to do our podcast, at least a quick one every day. What advice do you have for us?
I'd say one, it is your first national, right?
It is. It's our first time.
Yeah. I'd say take it all in.
Mm,
It's gonna be overwhelming, but it is totally worth it. And once you go once, you're never gonna want to miss it again going forward.
mm,
That's how it's been for me. I thought going the first one, I'm like, oh, this will be the only one I get to go to, and I've just made it a point to like make it the top of my priority to make it every single year. Because the connections you make at the show will be unlike any other. Everyone's in the same room, whether it's the content creators, whether it's the head of each company. There's just anyone you can meet will be there, and anyone you should meet will be there. So that would be one thing is also another thing with that kind of everyone being there.
mm.
If there's someone you want to meet and it's like a top of your priority, I would say try to schedule time with that person. Being like, hey, I'd love to catch up with you for 10 minutes on Thursday at 2. Like, you get so lost in it. Like, I honestly refer to it as like the Lotus Club, like in Percy Jackson. Like, you just go in there and then it's the end of the day. Like, you lose track of there so quickly.
Yeah.
So I'd say scheduling time is
Okay.
another trick of the trade.
Mm.
Because I had to do that last year. Like, you should have seen what my calendar looked like on my phone. I just had everything I needed to do in there to keep track of it. So that would also be, I would
That's
say, if you guys
perfect.
have certain things you're trying to hit,
Hmm.
certain giveaways, certain experiences, mark them down in your calendar.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and then just
Okay.
have fun. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's. If you
Yeah.
miss out on something, it's not the end of the world. I've had that
Hmm.
happen, and I'd say just enjoy it, take it all in.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent advice. Yeah, that's great. That's very helpful. So what, I you seem like almost an insider at this point, and you've got some like deep knowledge of the national and everything. What's a hit? I mean, I maybe you shouldn't share it, right? But what's like a hidden gem or something people don't think of at the national? Like for me, I think okay, there's the Breakers Pavilion, and then there's the autographs, and there's the obvious buying and selling at trade nights. But what's one of the sneakier fun things that you can do?
Hmm. I think honestly it varies from year to year.
Mhm.
I personally like the activations and things that each company do. And that varies from year to year. And usually like Tops has had a couple of handful of athletes come in and sign or do things at their booth. Last year, like eBay was breaking with I think it was Allen Iverson or not Allen Iverson. Shoot, who was it? I think it was a boxer. Anyway, they had like this like clear rectangle box that they were breaking in. And you could like watch them break. I think they also broke with John Elway or somebody like that.
Hmm.
So I mean watching that, like having the experience to see these people break cards up close, like that was super fun. I don't know if there's really like a hidden gem that's consistent year to year, besides
Mm,
maybe like the exclusive packs that like Topps and Panini do. Um, those are consistent from year to year, but the products you have to buy to get those packs change. But those are always a hit, and those usually have certain hours in the day where you can buy them. And you can also buy them directly from people. Like people will buy the boxes, get the packs, and then sell just the packs. Um, so I'd say if those are also cool to like commemorate your trip to the national because they usually always say NSCC and then have the year on it.
yeah.
Mm. Okay.
I didn't realize I had no idea how those packs worked. I just thought like it was like Willy Wonka and like you got handed the packs or something like that. So you're saying to get those shiny packs, you have to make certain purchases, then you qualify, then you get them, right?
Yeah. So usually there's like a checklist of like different products. There's usually like one or two cheaper products, then it goes up to like other products. So on the show floor, there will be different dealers that deal in wax, and you can
Hmm.
buy them there. And they'll say like we're a approved dealer of Topps or Panini. And what you do is you bring that box that you bought to the like booth, and
Hmm.
they'll cut the plastic wrap off the box so that way you can't bring the box back. Like you can't open the box at the show, bring it to them, and then give it to them. It has to have like that cellophane plastic wrap still on it. So that's basically like them saying, okay, we approve this box, take off the plastic wrap, here's your pack.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're learning a lot here, Nick.
Mm.
All right. I'm going to switch it a little bit because we do want your opinion on this.
Okay.
Um, what do you think are the biggest threats to the hobby?
Hmm. I'd say people that don't have a collection.
Hmm.
Mm. That's Wow, I haven't heard that one
So
before.
what? They're just dealing with like single cards and they're just buying and quickly selling. Like they don't have a PC themselves.
They're
Is that
just
what you mean?
flipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just
Just
flipping.
flipping.
Um, I would say that only because I think having a collection is what keeps you grounded in this hobby.
Hmm.
And I think even people that are transacting all the time, like these flippers, should have a collection that they go back to. Because if you're just going and transacting and like buying these cards and selling them, I think you'll lose like the real meaning behind what you're actually doing. And like I think you could get lost in like the money of like collecting like, oh, I just spent this amount. I'm like, you could buy a house like with that amount you just spent on that card. Like I think sometimes the numbers can get lost if you're not like truly appreciating what you're transacting. And I don't know if flippers are always selling to the collectors. Like they usually sell to each other at like percentages. Like I got this at 70. I'll sell this to you at 75, so you can sell it for 80. And I'm like, these pieces, I hope eventually every single card gets to their forever home eventually. And I
Hmm.
think kind of with flippers, it doesn't really get to that point. Like it kind of just gets more about the money than the actual card.
Hmm.
That's deep. You know,
It is.
it's
That's
like
really deep. Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
it's like actually it's
Hmm.
the difference between a community that rents their houses that's primarily rentals and then one that owns, right? It feels like that to me where you need some ownership and some rentals. And so you need some flippers and you need to sit on something long term
Hmm.
as well. And it just makes it like a healthy ecosystem. You need both, really.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah.
That was a refreshing response because again, we asked this a lot, and I don't think anyone's even sniffed or touched this threat that you just brought up. It's completely different than anyone's ever brought up. I really like that. That was great.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
wild. Very cool.
Okay.
Thanks, Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've learned
that
like
was
I kind
good.
of think a little bit differently than everyone else.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
got me thinking. It's got me thinking right now. Yeah.
I dig
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
So, Caleb, I mean, do you think so you're you're in your early 20s and you've been collecting a while, sounds like
Mhm.
several years. Do you think that this is something you'll do like your whole life? You'll collect cards or you'll collect something like maybe it's too early to call, right? You're not like Nostradamus, but what do you think?
I I'm on the list of questions you sent me. That was my favorite question on that list. Um,
Oh.
because so I've been collecting, it's crazy. I've been collecting longer now than I haven't in my life. So I started at 9 and I've been collecting now, I'm 20. I'll be 21 in August this year. So I've already been collecting longer than I haven't. And I collect other little things outside of sports cards. But with me, most of the time, what my collecting ties to is like collecting sports cards is more so collecting memories for me,
Mhm.
which is something like this kind of concept I've heard recently brought up, and that's something I've really thought about is almost every single card or player I collect is for a specific reason. Like I either met this player and have a connection to them, so I collect their card, or I saw them hit a home run in this game and I want a piece of their history with this, or I went to this game and there was a special moment or something like that. So and even going forward with like what I hope to do with journalism and stuff like that, I think even as I interview athletes, like I might be like, oh, I need to go buy a card of them now, put it on my shelf, so I remember when I got to meet this player. And I think honestly, I'll collect something for the rest of my life. I think maybe my volume that I add to my collection each year may slow down than it is right now because I'm getting packages a lot in the mail. I need to slow down a little bit right now, but I
We all
think
do.
Aren't
over
we
the years
all?
it'll probably slow down.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we definitely all are. Um, all right. I want to we want to be cognizant of your time, and we appreciate you joining us
I
today. And
got
we
plenty of time.
okay, all right. Well, all right. We're gonna do something fun here, and and I prepared myself for this question. I wrote some notes down before, but I'm actually gonna like on the fly switch a bit of it because of some of the things you've been saying.
Okay.
I would I'm gonna give you five categories. Okay.
Okay.
Five, let's call them experiences at the national, like general categories. And I would like you to rank them by probably just importance, maybe to you this summer. All right. And
This could
that
get
should even maybe,
dangerous.
yeah,
What's that?
This
it
could
could
get
get
dangerous.
dangerous.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's
All
get
right.
dangerous.
All right. So here we go. And let's see. I'm gonna switch up one of them. I'm gonna put your booth as one of them because you're working a booth and I wasn't prepared for that one. All right. So here we go. The five. All right. So you got to have a little bit of a memory, but I'll help you with this. All right. We have networking with people, just meeting, talking, meeting up with friends. That's number one. All right. Buying and selling is number two. Number three, yeah, I mean, you mentioned it with Austin Hayes, like autographs, like the autograph opportunities. Number four is your booth, and number five is trade night. So we have networking, buying and selling, getting autographs, working your booth, and trade nights. How are you ranking them?
Okay. It's really hard. I would say autographs would probably be at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Because
right.
I think I can kind of get my way out of why I would say that's the bottom. Because networking can kind of tie into interacting with athletes. So I don't necessarily have to get their autograph to
Mm-hmm.
interact.
Right.
Okay.
That's true.
I found a loophole. Um, okay, so that would be the bottom. And
Okay.
then
So you have networking, buying and selling, working your booth, and trade nights.
okay, trade night would be number 4.
Okay.
I love the trade night that Kentucky Basketball Cards and Card Collector 2 run every year. It's the event of the national. But I think
Ooh.
now that event is more so tied to networking for me. Like I love transacting with people, but it it can sometimes be a lot. Like most times when as a female in the hobby, you may be one of the only females in the room trading cards. And if you don't have like these football and basketball cards that most people in the room do, like you may not, it will be a lot harder to find people willing to trade with you or
Hmm.
that will take a look at your collection. So that would probably be number 4. I love going, but it's for different reasons now than it was when I started this. And I used to go and like want to make as many deals as possible. Um, I think 3 would probably be buying and selling. Um, I pick up cards every national that I can have for my collection. Be like, I got this at this national. I got an Austin Hayes 101 last year, which was pretty happy. I was pretty happy with that. And I also just pick up some random stuff that I may transact throughout the year. But to me, it's like, yeah, there's cards you'll never see, but most of those kind of cards aren't cards like I can add to my collection, or they may be cards that I don't necessarily want to put that money towards because it's a volatile player. Like I personally transact like low numbered baseball stuff or like stuff that you don't really
Hmm.
see that often, which may make it harder for me to buy and sell at a show anyway. Because it won't be like the basketball and football that everyone else is dealing in. So that'd probably be number 3. Now I have to decide
Yeah. Networking
limited
and
hobby booth and
being at your
networking.
booth. Hmm.
Um, that's hard. Okay, my networking will probably be number 2.
Okay.
I think, I mean, that's super important and I love doing it. And there's so many people that I only get to see at the national, because they're either on in California or like they don't go to the same shows or I've only known them on social media. And that's like the most fun part is that experience. Because when I got into this in 2013, I started my Instagram account in 2016. It's just like you build these relationships for so long and they know so much about your personal life, like not only just your cardboard life, but like your personal life, and they know you. And like the people I've interacted with, they all support what I do, and having that community that I don't have anywhere else in my
Hmm.
life is super important. Which is kind of why the Women in Hobby Booth is like right above that for me. Just because all those women are the best, and I love interacting with them so much, and they've all supported me from day one, and they're honestly like I wouldn't say they're all like my older sisters because there's some age gap between some of them. So like they're kind of like my aunts or like my sisters. Like they're just my people. And with like the current season of life I'm in with like figuring different things out and going through like grief and like a whole bunch of different things is like they talking to them will be like the thing for me at the national.
And that's beautiful. I
Excellent.
mean, me and Nick talk about that a lot. It's just the friendships and the relationships that you build in this community are wonderful. So it sounds like
Mhm.
sounds like you're getting a lot out of that. All right. So just to recap, number 1, women in the hobby booth. Number 2, networking. Number 3, buy and sell. Number 4, trade night. And number 5, autographs. And this was hard for Kayla because they're all great. So if you're
Yes, they
attending the
are all great.
national, these are all great. They all are. All right. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel like that
Made it
was
fun.
that was a very helpful schooling. I feel, I've learned something not to do. I've learned something that I can do, and just some like fun stuff. It's got me pretty excited about trade nights and everything. And I want to say that we're both very impressed with you. You have this very entrepreneurial way of thinking about things. I think will serve you well. And I'm not surprised that Arena Club reached out to you, and I think we'll see some big things from you going forward. So thanks for coming on and sharing all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any opportunity I get to share my story, I take, because I started this journey hopefully to be the person that younger Kayla wished she had. And so I hope somebody out there listening to this, I mean, it could be a male, could be a younger female, like it doesn't really matter to me. Like I hope each time you get to share your story, there's at least one person that resonates with it. Because then that makes it all worth it. So yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Right. So how can people reach out to you? What's your Instagram? I know you write articles. What's the best way for someone to get in touch with you if they want to?
Yeah, so my Kayla.collects Instagram is by far the best place to reach me. I'm pretty active on there. I post almost every day. I usually try to take a look at my DMs at least once a day. The requests can get a little sticky, because it's hard to navigate that sometimes. But then also, yeah, I'm on there pretty frequently. And you can see all the different stuff I do. I write for Slabstock's daily newsletter, which can be found on their Instagram page. They post the segment I do every day on there. They also have that in their email. So if you sign up for their email list, the bottom segment of that every day will be me writing that. And then Hobby News Daily, they have an Instagram. I post like a collab each week where I give you the breakdown of like the news that we talked about that week. And my personal articles come out once a month, which I think I'm on a Thursday, like the second Thursday of every month. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. And Arena Club posts in there. I'm doing their DMs, so if you ever need anything Arena Club based, you can reach out to me there as well.
Excellent.
He's got a
Great.
lot going on, everybody.
That's for sure. You got my head spinning.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. Well, Kayla, thank you. Thank you again. This was great talking to you.